What if there was a book, bound in an unknown material and filled with cryptic symbols that revealed the exact date of your death? Imagine flipping through its pages, the weight of destiny heavy in your hands, only to discover the precise moment your life would end. But what if this book isn't a physical object at all? What if it represents something far more pervasive? Any system, belief, or narrative that claims to predict, define, or even control our mortality. Think of astrology charts meticulously mapping out your life's trajectory, genetic screenings promising to reveal your predisposition to fatal diseases, or even complex algorithms claiming to predict your lifespan based on your habits and environment. The immediate emotional and psychological impact of such a discovery, whether real or perceived, can be earth-shattering. This brings us to a crucial premise. Death, as we understand it, may be more of a construct than an immutable fact. Our understanding of death is profoundly shaped by cultural narratives, societal expectations, and deeply ingrained personal beliefs. From the moment we are born, we are bombarded with messages about the inevitability of death, its finality, and the fear it inspires. But what if death isn't necessarily a fixed endpoint, but rather a more fluid and malleable aspect of reality, influenced by our consciousness, our choices, and our understanding of time itself? Perhaps the systems that claim to define our mortality are, in fact, powerful forms of societal and personal programming, subtly shaping our beliefs and limiting our potential. At the heart of this exploration lies the age-old tension between fate and free will. Are we merely puppets dancing to the tune of a predetermined destiny? Or do we possess the power to author our own lives and defy the predictions that seek to define us? Ancient beliefs often painted a picture of an unyielding fate, dictated by the stars or the whims of the gods. In contrast, modern ideas of self-determination emphasize our capacity for choice and the potential to shape our own realities. This tension plays out in countless individual lives. We see it in those who feel trapped by their circumstances, convinced that they are victims of fate, and in those who actively seize control of their destinies, defying expectations and forging their own paths. However, predictive systems, whether ancient or modern, often create an illusion of control. There's a certain appeal in knowing the future, a sense of security that comes from believing we can anticipate and prepare for what lies ahead. This is why astrology remains so popular and why genetic screenings are increasingly in demand. We crave certainty in an uncertain world. Consider our reliance on financial advisors who promise to predict market trends, or the weight we give to medical prognoses that attempt to forecast our health outcomes. But what happens when we blindly trust these predictions, surrendering our agency and limiting our possibilities? It's important to recognize the potential pitfalls of placing too much faith in any system that claims to know what the future holds. Understanding our perception of death directly impacts how we live our lives, and that's why this conversation is so critical. The fear of death can cast a long shadow over our existence, leading to anxiety, regret, and a profound lack of fulfillment. We might find ourselves constantly worrying about the future, clinging to security, and avoiding risks that could lead to greater happiness and meaning. But this fear isn't just a personal burden, it's also a powerful tool for societal control. Those who understand our fear of death can exploit it, manipulating our behavior and limiting our freedom. This acceptance, in turn, can stifle innovation and personal empowerment. When we're convinced that death is the inevitable end, we may be less inclined to challenge the status quo, to pursue our passions, or to take risks that could lead to breakthroughs. Historically, societies that embraced death as a natural part of life, such as ancient Egypt with its elaborate rituals and beliefs about the afterlife, often exhibited a different kind of vitality and creativity than those that feared it. The consequences of each approach ripple through every aspect of society, from its art and culture to its scientific and technological advancements. Questioning the inevitability of death, therefore, can unlock a world of greater personal agency and a more conscious existence. By understanding the systems that claim to predict our mortality, we can begin to break free from their influence and reclaim our power. This isn't about denying death or pretending it doesn't exist, but rather about changing our relationship with it. Consider living in the present as a powerful way to transcend the fear of the future. When we focus on the here and now, we diminish the power of death's shadow and embrace the fullness of life. This video serves as a guide to challenge limiting beliefs and reclaim your power in the face of mortality. The goal isn't to deny death, but to live more fully in the present moment, embracing the uncertainty and the infinite possibilities that lie before us. It's about shifting our perspective from one of fear and limitation to one of empowerment and self-discovery, recognizing that we are not merely passive recipients of a predetermined fate, but active co-creators of our own realities. Throughout history, death prediction systems have emerged across diverse cultures, each offering its own unique perspective on the mysteries of life and death. The oracles of ancient Greece, for example, were consulted for prophecies about the future, including the timing of one's demise. In China, the I Ching, or Book of Changes, provided guidance and insights into the cyclical nature of life and the potential for transformation, offering clues about one's destiny. The Book of the Dead in ancient Egypt outlined the rituals and spells necessary to navigate the afterlife, offering a roadmap for the soul's journey beyond death. Connecting these examples back to the initial book metaphor, it's important to recognize the common threads and differences in these systems, focusing on their underlying assumptions about fate and free will. Delving deeper, we encounter the theory of predictive programming, which suggests that death and mortality are subtly woven into the fabric of society and culture. From movies and books to the media and advertising, we are constantly bombarded with messages that reinforce the inevitability of death and normalize its presence in our lives. Think of movies where characters are told the exact date of their death, creating a sense of predetermined fate. Consider news cycles that relentlessly focus on death counts, particularly during times of crisis, instilling a sense of fear and vulnerability. It is important to analyze these messages critically, recognizing how they shape our perceptions of reality and influence our beliefs about death. But what if time itself isn't as fixed as we believe? Quantum physics and Eastern philosophy both offer intriguing perspectives on the nature of time. They suggest that time may not be linear, but rather a more fluid and interconnected dimension. Our perception of time can be altered through practices like meditation, mindfulness, and even certain altered states of consciousness. By shifting our perception of time, we may be able to free ourselves from the deterministic view of a preordained death date, opening up new possibilities for healing, transformation, and longevity. Ultimately, the fragility of predictions and the power of conscious choice become increasingly clear. Countless individuals have defied medical prognoses, astrological forecasts, and other forms of predictive systems, demonstrating the limitations of these models. The role of lifestyle choices, mindset, and belief systems in influencing health and longevity cannot be overstated. Factors like diet, exercise, stress management, and social connections all play a significant role in shaping our health outcomes. This reminds us that we are not simply at the mercy of fate, but active participants in our own well-being. But how much control do we truly have over our lives? What role does fate play, and where does our free will begin? Are we living in a predetermined simulation, or are we the authors of our own reality? These questions cut to the very heart of our existence, forcing us to confront our deepest fears and challenge our most fundamental beliefs about death and mortality. What if this book comes from who created it, and what is its true purpose? Could it be a tool for control, designed to keep us trapped in fear and resignation? Could there be hidden forces at play, manipulating our perception of reality and limiting our potential? Consider the ways that media and entertainment subtly reinforce the inevitability of death and societal control. Think of movies where characters are told when they'll die, creating a sense of predetermined fate. Reflect on news cycles focused on death counts, particularly during times of crisis, instilling a sense of fear and vulnerability. These patterns plant the seeds of acceptance and resignation, making us less likely to question the status quo or seek out alternative possibilities. But what if there was a way to escape this timeline, to break free from the predetermined script and author our own destinies? There are techniques and practices that can help us manipulate our perception of time, allowing us to access new dimensions of healing, transformation, and empowerment. By exploring these possibilities, we can begin to transcend the fear of death and live a more authentic and fulfilling existence, shaping our own realities and defying the limitations of the book that seeks to define us. Let's delve deeper into the ancient systems that have attempted to predict our fate. Think of the Egyptian Book of the Dead, not as a literal guide to the afterlife, but as a reflection of their deep-seated beliefs about death and the soul's journey. This elaborate collection of spells and rituals wasn't just about ensuring a successful passage to the next world. It was a way of imposing order and meaning onto the unknown, offering a sense of control in the face of mortality. The cultural significance of this book is undeniable, demonstrating how a society's understanding of death shapes its entire way of life. Consider the detailed artwork, the complex hieroglyphs, and the sheer effort involved in creating these texts, all pointing to a culture deeply invested in understanding and preparing for what lay beyond. And what about the Greek oracles, like the famed Oracle of Delphi? People from all walks of life traveled to these sacred sites, seeking guidance from the gods, often receiving cryptic prophecies about their future, including the timing of their death. The pronouncements of the oracle, often delivered in ambiguous language, were interpreted by priests and rulers, wielding immense power and influence over society. The methods used at Delphi, shrouded in mystery and ritual, were designed to inspire awe and reverence, reinforcing the belief that fate was predetermined and controlled by divine forces. Even the Norse prophecies, foretelling the end of the world in Ragnarok, served a similar purpose, shaping their culture and beliefs. These historical death prediction systems each rested upon specific philosophical foundations, beliefs about fate, destiny, and the nature of reality. In many Eastern traditions, the concept of karma plays a central role, suggesting that our actions in this life determine our fate in future lives. This belief in reincarnation provides a framework for understanding death as a transition rather than an end, offering solace and hope in the face of mortality. In contrast, some Western philosophies emphasize divine intervention, the idea that a higher power actively shapes our lives and determines our ultimate destiny. The concept of free will often clashes with this notion, raising questions about the extent to which we truly control our own fate. Think of the differing viewpoints on karma across various Eastern religions, how Buddhism's concept of karma emphasizes intention, while Hinduism's karma is more closely tied to societal duties. These subtle differences in philosophical viewpoint drastically impact how individuals understand their life's trajectory. These varying beliefs underpin how death is perceived and approached. Compare this to the ancient Greeks' focus on the whims of the gods and goddesses. Connecting this back to the mysterious book metaphor, these systems represent humanity's relentless attempts to understand and control what we fear most: death. This book is, therefore, a collection of our stories, beliefs, and predictions, a testament to our enduring quest for meaning in a world filled with uncertainty. Think about how different cultures have created their own versions of this book, each reflecting their unique perspectives and anxieties about mortality. By recognizing this book as a collection of human narratives, we can begin to question its authority and consider alternative ways of relating to death. Reflect on the stories you've been told about death, the beliefs you've inherited, and the predictions you've accepted as truth. How do these narratives shape your own perception of mortality? Are they empowering you to live more fully, or are they holding you back from embracing the present moment? And consider the control implications. Those in power have often used these systems to manipulate populations. Priests and rulers interpreted oracles to justify their actions, claiming divine authority for their decisions. Astrological predictions were used to influence political decisions, shaping the course of history based on the alignment of the stars. Think about how the fear of an impending doomsday has been used to justify authoritarian measures throughout history, or how the interpretation of religious texts has been used to control people's behavior and beliefs. By understanding how these systems have been used to control us, we can become more aware of their influence and resist their manipulation. What decisions have you made in your life based on fear or a sense of obligation? Now, let's turn our attention to predictive programming. You've likely encountered countless examples of this throughout your life, perhaps without even realizing it. Consider the movie, The Matrix, where humans are trapped in a simulated reality, unaware of their true existence. This film isn't just a work of fiction, it's an allegory for the ways in which our perceptions can be manipulated and controlled. Or think of They Live, another film that exposes the hidden messages embedded in our everyday environment, designed to keep us compliant and subservient. Even books like 1984 and Brave New World explore dystopian societies where individual freedom is sacrificed for the sake of order and control. Pay attention to the specific scenes, plot points, and messages in these works that reinforce the inevitability of death and societal control. In The Matrix, Neo's struggle to awaken to the truth of his reality mirrors the human journey of breaking free from programmed beliefs about death. The purpose of predictive programming, as some believe, is to normalize certain events, desensitize people to violence and death, and create a sense of helplessness. By constantly bombarding us with images of destruction, disease, and despair, those in power can manipulate our emotions and control our behavior. Fear, in particular, is a potent weapon, and the fear of death is perhaps the most powerful of all. Think about how the media sensationalizes tragic events, creating a climate of fear and anxiety. Or how advertising uses fear to sell products, promising to protect us from harm. This creates a vicious cycle of fear and control, where we become increasingly dependent on external authorities for our safety and security. However, by recognizing these patterns, we can begin to reclaim our power. The same themes and messages appear across different forms of media and over time, creating a cumulative effect that subtly shapes our beliefs. Consider the recurring themes of pandemics, wars, and natural disasters in movies, television shows, and news reports. These events, often presented in a sensationalized and emotionally charged manner, can create a sense of impending doom and make us feel powerless in the face of larger forces. Or think about the glorification of violence and desensitization to death in video games, which can normalize aggression and diminish our empathy for others. This constant exposure can shape our views on death, making it seem more commonplace, more expected, and harder to avoid. But who is behind predictive programming, and what are their ultimate goals? This is where the mystery deepens. Could there be a hidden agenda to control the future by shaping our beliefs and expectations? Perhaps the goal is to create a self-fulfilling prophecy, where our collective fears and anxieties manifest into reality. Maybe those in power seek to maintain their dominance by keeping us trapped in a state of fear and resignation. But it's possible to resist predictive programming. By becoming aware of its influence, consciously choosing our narratives, and actively challenging the status quo, we can break free from this cycle of manipulation and create a more empowering future for ourselves and generations to come. Let's challenge the idea of time as a fixed, linear progression. Quantum physics suggests that time may be more of a construct of human consciousness than an objective reality. The observer effect, for example, demonstrates how our perception can influence the behavior of subatomic particles, blurring the lines between subject and object. cause and effect. Eastern philosophy echoes this idea, emphasizing the illusion of Maya, the belief that the world we perceive is not ultimately real. This concept suggests that what we experience as time is also part of this grand illusion. Consider experiences that challenge our linear perception of time. Déjà vu, precognitive dreams, near-death experiences, they all suggest that time isn't the rigid framework we often assume. The many worlds interpretation of quantum mechanics takes this idea even further, suggesting the possibility of infinite parallel universes, each representing a different outcome of every possible choice. According to this theory, our choices and beliefs can influence which reality we experience. Death may not be an absolute end, but a transition to another reality, another branch in the vast multiverse of possibilities. Think of your favorite science fiction show that explores alternate realities and how different decisions lead to different outcomes. This opens up the possibility that our choices have ripple effects that extend beyond our immediate experience, shaping not only our own lives, but also the lives of others in countless parallel universes. It makes you wonder, doesn't it? And what are some ways that we might be able to alter our perception of time? Practices like meditation, mindfulness, and lucid dreaming can help us break free from the constraints of linear time and access altered states of consciousness. When we meditate, we quiet the mind and enter a state of stillness, transcending the constant flow of thoughts and emotions. Mindfulness teaches us to focus on the present moment, savoring each sensation and experience without judgment. Lucid dreaming allows us to become aware that we are dreaming and to consciously control the events of our dreams. Try this. Set aside just 5 minutes each day to sit quietly and focus on your breath. As thoughts arise, simply observe them without getting carried away, gently guiding your attention back to your breath. Perhaps death is not a final endpoint, but a gateway to other possibilities. Consider the possibility of reincarnation, the belief that our souls are reborn into new bodies after death, or the concept of spiritual evolution, the idea that our souls continue to grow and develop throughout countless lifetimes. Some even believe that death is a merging with source consciousness, a return to the ultimate reality from which we came. The fear of death is often rooted in our attachment to the physical world and our limited perception of reality. If we can begin to see ourselves as more than just our bodies, as eternal beings with limitless potential, we can begin to transcend this fear and embrace the mystery of death with a sense of curiosity and wonder. The power of conscious choice has allowed countless people to overcome their perceived limitations, defy predictions, and reclaim their lives. There are countless stories of individuals who were given a death sentence by doctors or astrologers, but who defied the odds and lived much longer than expected. Consider the role of mindset, lifestyle choices, and alternative healing modalities in these remarkable transformations. There is growing evidence to support the idea that we have more control over our health and longevity than we think. Research continues to demonstrate how things such as lifestyle and community can drastically change our potential lifespan. Our beliefs, thoughts, and actions can profoundly influence our physical and emotional well-being. The placebo effect, for example, demonstrates the power of suggestion, showing how our expectations can trigger real physiological changes in our bodies. When we believe that something will heal us, it often does, even if the treatment itself is inert. Similarly, our thoughts and emotions can impact our immune system, our hormonal balance, and our overall health. It's critical to take responsibility for our own well-being, make conscious choices that support our health, cultivate positive beliefs, and actively manage our thoughts and emotions. How can you begin to take more responsibility for your health and well-being today? So, what actionable steps can we take to reduce our fear of death and live more fully in the present moment? Start by practicing gratitude. Keep a gratitude journal and write down things you are thankful for each day. This simple practice can shift your focus from what you lack to what you have, cultivating a sense of contentment and joy. Spend time in nature, immersing yourself in the beauty and wonder of the natural world. Connecting with loved ones, nurturing your relationships, and expressing your love and appreciation for those who matter most. Challenge your limiting beliefs, question the narratives that hold you back, and embrace a more positive and empowering worldview. Ultimately, we are not victims of fate. We are powerful co-creators of our reality. Embrace your potential, live a life filled with purpose, passion, and joy, and choose to embrace your agency and live a fulfilling life. Take control of your life and create a more fulfilling future. So, let's bring this journey to its natural conclusion. The mysterious book we've been discussing isn't a physical tome bound in leather and filled with prophecies. It's something far more pervasive. It represents the entire collection of beliefs, societal narratives, and predictive systems that attempt to define and confine our understanding of mortality. These systems, from ancient astrological charts to modern genetic screenings, often operate as self-fulfilling prophecies, subtly shaping our expectations and limiting our perceived potential. When we accept these narratives without question, we inadvertently box ourselves in, living according to someone else's script rather than writing our own. Recognizing these patterns, understanding where these limitations originate, is the vital first step towards reclaiming your narrative and rewriting your future. Consider, for a final compelling example, the pervasive trope in movies and television where characters are given a specific date or time of death, either through a curse, a prophecy, or a medical diagnosis. How often do these characters then spend their remaining time in fear and resignation, ultimately fulfilling the prediction? This isn't just entertainment. It subtly reinforces the idea that our fate is predetermined and unchangeable. But you, armed with awareness, can become a critical consumer of information, challenging the narratives you encounter and consciously choosing the beliefs that empower you. Ask yourself, whose story am I living? Is it one of limitation or one of limitless possibility? Remember, we also explored the idea that time itself isn't necessarily linear as we commonly perceive it. Quantum physics hints at a more fluid and interconnected reality, where past, present, and future are not so rigidly defined. Eastern philosophies, with their emphasis on cyclical time and the illusion of Maya, offer another perspective on this concept. Even fleeting experiences like déjà vu can offer a glimpse beyond the constraints of linear time. Practices like meditation and mindfulness can also help us break free from this perceived linearity. By focusing on the present moment, we can quiet the anxieties of the future and the regrets of the past, fully embracing the richness of each unfolding experience. And let's not forget the power of perspective. Countless individuals have defied grim predictions, shattering expectations, and reclaiming their lives. Think of those diagnosed with terminal illnesses who, through radical lifestyle changes, unwavering determination, and a refusal to accept their fate, have gone on to live long and fulfilling lives. These stories serve as a testament to the human spirit's resilience and the power of conscious choice. Instead of dwelling on the limitations imposed by external forces, focus on cultivating a positive and empowering worldview, one that emphasizes your potential for growth, transformation, and limitless possibility. The fear of death, in many ways, is inextricably linked to broader systems of control and manipulation. Those in positions of power often benefit from our anxieties, using fear to maintain their dominance and influence. Predictive programming, as we discussed, is one method they employ, subtly reinforcing the inevitability of death and societal control through media and culture. However, by challenging our fundamental beliefs about mortality, by questioning the narratives we've been conditioned to accept, we are simultaneously challenging the very foundations of these systems of control. It's about recognizing that the fear of death can be a powerful tool and choosing not to be wielded by it. The recurring motif of the mysterious book represents humanity's relentless quest to understand and control the unknown, especially the most profound unknown of all, death. But perhaps this quest isn't about finding definitive answers or concrete predictions. Perhaps it's a journey of self-discovery, an exploration of our deepest fears and beliefs. By confronting our anxieties, challenging our assumptions, and embracing the inherent uncertainty of life, we can unlock our true potential and live more authentically. It's in the questioning, in the seeking, that we find our own power. Ultimately, embracing the present moment is the key to transcending the fear of death. By living fully in the now, savoring each experience, and appreciating the beauty of everyday life, we can break free from the anxieties of the future and the regrets of the past. Cultivate mindfulness, practice gratitude, and connect with the people and experiences that bring you joy. Because a life lived in the present is a life lived without the shadow of death looming over it. Understanding death in a profound way is understanding life. By recognizing how easily we can be manipulated by our own perceptions, by the stories we tell ourselves and the narratives we accept, we can liberate ourselves from that manipulation. We can reclaim our power to choose our own path, to define our own reality, and to live a life that is truly our own. It is in the acceptance of our mortality, rather than the fear of it, that we discover our true potential. The question of fate versus free will remain open, a timeless debate with no easy answers. But even if fate does exist in some form, we still possess the power to shape our destiny. Our choices, our actions, and our beliefs can influence the course of our lives, guiding us towards different possibilities and outcomes. Embrace your agency, take responsibility for your choices, and create a life filled with purpose, passion, and joy. Because even if the future is written, the pen is still in your hand. The fragility of predictions, the countless instances where forecasts of death have proven inaccurate, serve as a powerful reminder that we are not bound by predetermined outcomes. Our beliefs, our thoughts, and our actions can profoundly influence our reality, defying expectations and rewriting our stories. Challenge your limiting beliefs, embrace a more empowering worldview, and remember that you have the power to create a future filled with possibility. Don't be confined by someone else's expectations. Defy them and write your own. So, what if there was a book that revealed the exact date of your death? The answer, as we've discovered, is that such a book, even if it existed, would only hold power if we allowed it to. The true power lies within you, in your ability to question, to challenge, and to create your own reality. You have the ability to rewrite your story, to defy expectations, and to live a future filled with boundless possibility. By embracing the present moment, challenging our limiting beliefs, and reclaiming our power, we can transcend the fear of death and live a more fulfilling life. Let go of your anxieties, embrace the beauty and uncertainty of the unknown, and step into your true potential. The journey may be challenging, but the rewards are immeasurable. What other limiting beliefs are holding you back from living your full potential? What other narratives are you accepting without question? Continue to explore, to question, and to challenge the assumptions you're presented with. The concepts explored in this video have far-reaching implications for our understanding of reality, consciousness, and the very nature of existence. Further exploration of these topics could lead to profound insights and personal transformation, opening up new avenues of understanding and empowering you to live a more conscious and fulfilling life. Share your thoughts and experiences in the comments section below. What are your biggest fears about death, and how are you working to overcome them? Subscribe to the channel for more content on related topics as we continue to explore the mysteries of consciousness and reality. The journey of self-discovery is a lifelong process, a continuous unfolding of potential. Continue to explore your possibilities, to challenge your beliefs, and to live each day to the fullest. And remember this: the true mystery is not when we will die, but how we will